Okay, you're live now.
Am I live? For
Yes,
reals this time?
you're live.
I'm not talking to myself?
No, you're
Ay,
not
ay.
talking to yourself.
Um, anyway, I was talking to myself for 10 minutes. Yeah, hello, yate siya Richard DeCrane and siya. Kintlachini was chin gagin Angela. Kuteya. Dene Angela. Oh, sorry, just had some technical difficulties. Working on a few things. My light just fell. But yeah, today I'm going to be talking about a little bit about beading and beadwork and working on right now. I'm working on these medallions. Um, these are the ones I beaded for San Diego State. I had a friend who wanted to order some, extra. Usually I beat these. If you don't know, I beat these for the graduates. Excuse me. For the graduates, I graduate San Diego State University, not South Dakota University, at San Diego State. Anyway, these are the gourds. The gourds around here in Kumeyaay territory. That's where I'm talking from. They do what's called bird singing, and they use these are big round gourds to sing what's called bird singing or bighorn sheep songs or wildcat songs. I'm trying to think of all of the different types, and we all the way pretty much on the other side of San Diego, all the way up the Colorado River. The tribes across here use this gourd for whether if you're doing Native American church or bird singing. They use this type of gourd, different sizes, but they use the bigger ones, and this is traditional around here, the Kumeyaay people. And so I feed these for the graduates at San Diego State. Um, Thanks to my wife, we're testing a new thing out. Using two cameras. I got my iPhone here on one side, and my daughter's laptop on the other side. Um, yeah, so my wife actually beaded the gourds already for me. We help out, and my son also helps out. He likes to do the edge beading. So once I get done here, I'll be doing edge beading. I thought this week. I know last week we talked about native foods and food sovereignty a little bit, and the importance of figuring out where your food comes from, and also giving thanks to your food, in whatever a prayer, and thanks by buying from local people, local farmers versus buying from the big box stores, and yeah. So we just talked about real general. Like I said in my talk, I'm not a professional um, food person or a botanist. I do love food. I do love the buffets when they were open. But now I'm locked home safe. I've been eating a lot healthier. We've been preparing our meals a lot more. Just looking up at our menu up there. We have a whole menu for the whole week of Monday through Sunday. Yesterday we had curry chicken, but not really. We actually cheated and ate out. We had Cochino del Charro. It's a Mexican place here in Escondido. One of the best, expensive Mexican food, but it's worth the price. If you get to go to that buffet once the buffet is open again, it's like one of those buffets that I really recommend. Every time my folks or family members come out, I usually like to take them out there, host them up, taste some Mexican food. If not, I'll be taking them down to Old Town. Like I said, I'm a foodie, not a food critic. I just like to eat food. But anyway, so we're talking about beadwork and beading. The technique that I kind of go back from different techniques. So in my beadwork, I go back from single needle to double needle, to long needle to little needle, to wide string to big string, size 10 beads to 11 beads, 15. It varies depending. But the beads that I'm using today are size 11. Um, and I buy a lot of my beads from Dancing Bear Indian Trader. I've been partner with them or working with them for since the beginning. Before when they first started out here in San Diego, I met my good friend Don Tracy. Yeah, we were taking a woodworking class over at Palomar College, and I met this guy. I think I've told the story a few times. How I had met him over the weekend at this Balboa Park powwow, and I talked to him for a while and was checking out his stuff because I noticed his booth because um, there was a Navajo guy there. His name was Emerson, and I was talking to Emerson first, and I kind of introduced myself because at that time I was still in the military. I didn't know too many Native or Navajo people in this area, and Emerson was one of the first Navajos that I kind of got to know, but became my friend. And then Don became my friend. Don offered me after I had met that weekend. We started class. I think it was in May, and we started class in the fall, and I didn't see him that whole summer. But in the fall, when I was taking class at Palomar College, I met Don Tracy. He was the original owner of Dancing Bear Indian Trader. That's his Indian name. You guys remember Don? He used to sell a lot of crafts. And so, since that, we opened up a couple of stores, closed a couple and got a different store. Well, we didn't really close. We just got moved to a different location, And eventually right now we're here in Escondido, off of 1313 Simpson Way. I remember the address and everything. Anyway, not shameless plug there, but yeah. So I work with Chris. We travel all around the powwow circuit. You might have seen me just set up and stuff like that. I really enjoy. Since Dawn passed away, I really told Dawn, that I would take care of her, and help her out. And since then, I've been helping her out at the store, wherever I could, I can. I still do. That's where my workshop is at, for my woodcraft that I do. So I have a lot of different crafts, and a lot of these crafts, are native crafts. A lot of times, I feel that our native crafts are a lot more therapeutical. They go back in time, and they're very. I've noticed, if I go to lectures or if I was in class or something and I would be beading, I actually get more out of the class when I'm beading or focus on this and listening to the professors or whoever is facilitating the talk. I find that I can concentrate more and hear more when I'm focused on doing native craft type beadwork. Anyway, it's really interesting. So the beading technique that I'm doing is 2 needle. I like to call it the crow style beadwork. I like to use a longer needle for my beadwork, and also a shorter needle, a sharp needle. This is a size 11 beading needle. I think the string I'm using is size B, and I like to, when I use size B, I like to double it up, kind of do it like that. Just to give it a little bit more strength. I also use beeswax to kind of, this actually helps it from fraying. It doesn't, this Nymo, what I use is Nymo. It's a synthetic cotton string blend. It's also blended with beeswax, just to give it a little bit more, just to keep it from fraying, just in case. Keep it. That light just crashed down. Did it break?
Yeah.
Unplug it then. You just had a misstep. Yeah. But anyway, can you bring your little light?
Okay.
Anyway, I'll just try to get some light on my beadwork so everybody can see. And it just wanted to crash down. Someone gushied me. In Navajo, that means someone witched me. Someone's thinking bad thoughts of me while I'm trying to show some beadwork. Maybe it's the Crow people because they want me to show their technique. But anyway, I'm already saged. Maybe we should sage again. I actually sweetgrassed. Violet, bring me some matches so I can sage this place down. Just had a light scare me half to death. There we go. Anyway, so I just wanted to show you a little bit of beading technique. fix this a little better. Hopefully you can see stuff. Yep. And so, the way I bead, I'm using two needle technique. This first needle, I picked up quite a few beads. The way I do this one's, the way you bead in your real simple beading is very simple. I, depending on what I'm beading, I do different techniques. I'm trying to find this camera, it's a little difficult. So I'll wrap my finger around this thing like this. Once I load my beads on, and beading is very simple. Beading's not very hard. You're basically loading beads and you tack down the beads. So with the crow style beadwork, I use two needles. I have to take my glasses off because I can't see anything. Especially black. Black is really hard. And so, with this other needle, I come up, and tacking down is basically sewing down the string that goes across, so with one string I'm going across and there are beads that I load on, and then with the other string I tack down. And so you're tacking down. I like to tack down usually 2 beads at a time. When it's the black color, it's really hard to see, especially when I don't have any light. So I pull that through, and you don't have to go. I like to go real long with my string, and a lot of people don't like it like that. So once I bring my string in, I didn't tie it. I didn't even put a knot in it. And usually to go faster, I don't put a knot in it. I just kind of burn it a little bit, and do that, and then it melts into a little ball. And that's what those little balls are on the back. You'll see the melted pieces of this. And so I'll also, like I said, I put some of this beeswax on there, and sorry, there you go. So beading this. Uh-oh, mouse, I paused. What happened here? Why'd you unplug me there? Anyway, well, Thomas is trying to set up this light for me a little better. Especially black. Said that black is hard to even see. So anyway. No, there's too much light. It's blinding me. Bring it around here. I can't see. I'm sure you can see from that, but I can't see myself. I need to be able to see things. The more light, the better. Okay, there we go. Hopefully, this guy's being wonky. Hold on, my camera is getting crazy. I had it perfect, but someone moved it. There was it. There you go. Can't see me now. I had it fixed. That's the. My little Joe B's a little crazy. But anyway. Did you tighten it or did you loosen it?
Tightened it.
Okay, because last time it just fell apart. I have this little thing that it's called a Joby that holds my phone. Sometimes if you don't type it, the little legs want to shake and fall over. But anyway, so here's like you, I was just talking, but you with one finger, I'm not flipping you off. I just wrapped it around my finger to do the beadwork. Thomas is modern to me. How's it sound? Does it sound okay? You hear me okay? Am I live? I was talking for myself for almost 10 minutes. I was just doing a live video, but it was just, I was only seeing myself. But anyway, we fixed that problem. I'm trying this new technique where you can screen share with the Facebook Facebook Live, and I guess there's a little few new things on Facebook Live uh, that you can do. And so anyway, so this beading for me is very therapeutical. You know, since we're all on all safe at home, all being safe at home. Um, by order of the governor, he um, I figured we'd do some crafts, and so you know, and this craft, you know, is very, like I said, it's very therapeutical. I know a lot of people that have been working for a long time. You know, like my mom, especially. You know, she's been working all her life, and you know, she used to be very crafty. She'd tell me that the things that she used to make, um, and and she knows how to use to make the Navajo rug, Navajo rugs, and but it's been so long that she stopped doing it, and so she asked me to make her a loom again. So I'm gonna be making her a loom so she can do her Navajo crafts since she's gonna be retiring soon. She's gonna get back into crafting, and I think a lot of us, for us to be safe at home, we have to um, do things, and doing native craft work is something very very time consuming, humbling, and yet at the same time it's very you have to concentrate on it. You know, it's the beading technique is very simple, very easy to learn. It's just a matter of tacking down every other bead. Like I said, I'll try to keep this on the camera, but I go usually every in between every other bead, in between two beads. Come on. And so, yeah. So some of the tools that I have, you know, I have a scissor. I have an awl. Have my beads. I bought a black size 11 Hank beads, and so I'm doing what's called filling in the circle, and see once I get to there, close enough to the edge where I want to fill in, I just keep tacking it down. And like I said, tacking down is just basically tacking the string down. Try to let you guys see that a little better. And so, see, I have sort of, and so this other one is actually, what I'm going to do now is go down into, finish off this string, go right down, but down into there. Anyway, let me know, you know, in the comments. Like I said, Thomas is going to be watching the comments. He'll tell me if anybody comments, if you have any questions or want me to show something again. And so, you know, I just decided to do, for my talk this week, do a little beadwork, take a little time to show, you know, people, you know, it took me talking to quite a few different, not beadwork people, including, you know, my own relatives, my family members, my cousins, my sisters, and also, you know, checking out YouTube videos, people beading, and I kind of developed my own techniques, and just by listening and talking to people and asking questions, and that's the way to learn how to bead. You know, I didn't come out the womb beading, and so I went through this thing, and I came back out, and I went back out, and I came out just above the next spot. It's hard to see with black. Anyway, so usually, like I said, I'll put a little beeswax on it and do it like that. Let me get a little closer. So anyway, let me have a little bit of coffee. So, you know, I just wanted to share some beadwork, share a little bit of story time with you guys. So, yeah, so with this second needle, you know, I have this first needle and this second needle. With this needle, the bigger needle, the beading needle, I like to pick up beads, and so I'll pick up as many beads as I need to go across from here to here, from here to here. Um, and so I like to, like some people will, when they bead, actually this is the McDonald's beading tray. I don't know, I think my father-in-law got one, and then I collected it, and then my mom and my dad, they had collected these McDonald's bead trays, and so I seen them one day, and so I grabbed them, and these would be perfect for beading. And so beading, I've been using these for a very long time. Just the McDonald's bead tray. I don't want to show you the M in case in case McDonald's is watching. Hey, they might want their bead tray back. But anyway, not sponsored by McDonald's either. But can you pick that light up, Thomas? Did you hear? Big light that fell. And so I'm trying to get better lighting, because it's really, like I said, black is one of the hardest colors to actually see. So I took off my glasses so I can actually see. I can see better near than far. Thomas, can you turn that other light on too? It's still not that bright. So I'll measure it. I'll kind of use my thumb and kind of measure how far, approximately. And I'll take off the excess beads that I get on there. I'll take those off, and then, like I said, I just use my thumb. I wrap it around on one finger. You don't have to wrap it around your nasty finger, your pointed finger, this finger, just the middle finger. As I give you all the middle finger. Can you sweep it up, vacuum it? I think we broke my light. Shoot. But anyway, I guess I could buy another bar. Bought that light. It's one of those magnet lights from Harbor Freight. Pretty cheap place, if you don't. I saw that at. I keep name dropping these places that they should be sponsoring me. But I got that from Harbor Freight, and it's pretty cool. I found it in the section where they sell random stuff. And
it's just the other day you can peel off the glass and it works perfect.
But here I go again. So I just hold it there and kind of I use my thumb as kind of a hold the string down at the same time. I'll scoot over this way a little bit. There we go. Hopefully that's better. Yeah, so we're just here beading, having a good time. And so this is something that you can do, while you're safe at home, doing native craft work. Make sure you pull that through all the way, Richard. There you go. Start talking to myself in third person. Good job, Richard. There you go. Hopefully you can see that. Keep on moving to the camera. Let's see. Let's try to get this. Hopefully. Then I want to move this way. Then I want to move that way. But anyway, hopefully everybody can see that okay. Or if anybody's watching. Well, if anybody tunes in later on. I know the other day my father-in-law was telling me that he likes to tune in and listen to me talk. Thank you there, Robert. Appreciate it.
There's people watching right now.
And yeah, I guess Facebook. Usually we could, when I work with at the youth center or youth center, when I do my different beading talks or whatever. I can use two cameras, or I usually pre-record sometime, or a lot of time I'll pre-record and I can show and talk. But today we're doing it live beading and two cameras, just trying it out, see if it works. If not, it might work. it's hard to see. But yeah, so that's all pretty much I'm doing. I'm just tacking down every other beadwork, and yeah, like I said, this has turned into kind of a family affair. My son will also help out with the beadwork, and my daughter does help sometimes, and she'll pick out the beads or whatever. All of us kind of contribute to these medallions and help out, because they like to bead too. My son just finished beading his I almost said yoga medallion, Yoda medallion. And so I don't know if anybody who's seen his Yoda medallion, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, pretty cool. I think, did I show you guys last time when I was talking?
Dad,
Yeah.
Matthew Dean Hood asked, would you bead straight to the leather of moccasin? If not, what would you do?
Would I bead straight to the leather moccasins? Yeah, I do. It depends on the leather though, because some leather is really hard or hard to bead straight through, and some leather is really soft. It depends on what kind of leather you're using. You can do straight bead through. Usually I'll do two different techniques when I do like moccasins. I think next week I'm gonna start on my moccasins and start beading that. Excuse me, but I do a lazy stitch mixed in with a straight stitch when I do on the beadwork. A lazy stitch actually just doesn't go all the way through the leather. It only goes. It just kind of pinches the outside of the leather and comes up. And a lazy stitch is just a little different technique than what I'm doing right now. This is called applique beadwork, or some people call it two stitch or two needle beadwork. I call it crow style beadwork. But yeah, that's a different. Yeah, just really depends on the leather that you're using. Because some leather you can be able to poke it through. I know the moccasins that I'm gonna be beading are moose hide, and moose hide's a little thicker, and it's harder unless you have put some duct tape on your finger or make yourself a leather. I've even seen people just get a piece of leather glove and cut it off one of the fingers and then use that to bead. That's an idea, or you can bead your own little leather finger and use that to hold the needle to go through the beadwork. And so beadwork is a little bit hard and a little bit different than the normal technique. Hi Karen, my wife's home. Yeah, so hopefully that answered your question, but I'm gonna be probably doing moccasins maybe next week or the week after that. If you want to tune in for that, I've got to bead me some new moccasins.
Kiana Caputo asked if you can do a close up of the beadwork.
Yeah, can you see my other screen? Or can you just see the other screen?
Yeah, I can. You're able to see the second screen over here.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to use two screens, one to kind of talk and one to kind of show. And I'm also trying to stay within focus. Hopefully you can see. You don't have to see my ugly mug the whole time. Okay. But yeah, so I'll try to keep my fingers out of the way, my sausages, so you can see better. But yeah, with this, like I said, I use two needles. One's to tack down, and then one is to pick up the beads. And so right now, I'm going to pick up the beads again. Like I said, black is a little hard to see. I'll zoom in there. So I just did this part here. And so I want to pick up enough beads to go from here to there. And so I like to, some people like their beads loose like this, and they'll make a little pile. And that's fine, just a good technique is to use two fingers. I know some people will do like this. Whatever, you'll develop your own technique as you bead your own designs and stuff. You kind of develop that. And so it's good to hold your needle as far back as you can and then just kind of use that. And it takes practice. I know I make it look pretty easy when I bead, and I don't have very good dexterity anymore. I have like arthritis and stuff. I can't do that very long. I have to stretch. But anyway, I know some people are shaky, so you don't need like surgical hands to bead. You can be shaky. So I'm a little shaky. That's why, and what helps me to be less shaky, especially with arthritis, is kind of stretch a little bit. I'll crack my fingernails. I'll do a little bit of this stretch, a little stretch my hand. I think I was aircraft mechanic, and I always used my hands when I used to turn wrenches on the planes. I did a lot of wrench turning and a lot of work, and it kind of messed up my hands really bad. And so sometimes I can't, hold things for very long. But anyway, so I'll try to get close like I requested. So it's hard to see, I know. I just picked up, I'll go like this. So I picked up enough beads to go across, and then from there I'll just check. It's kind of really hard to see now. So it looks like that will make it. Maybe I'll take one off. Yeah, I'll take one bead off. And so it's so when you're beading, sometimes people will put too many beads on like that and try to make it really tight, and then it'll end up or actually try to squeeze in too many beads in one area, and what will happen is it'll bunch up and it'll pop up, and you don't want that. And it's always best to take some beads off and leave a little space, and don't be scared to leave a little space in your beadwork, because that really helps, because no one's going to be looking like straight at your beadwork like this unless you're another beader. But most people will be fairly far away, and they won't see the gap or hole. And if you have a background that matches the color that you're using, because it's black on black, really helps. If this was white on black, and you would be able to see the gap. And so you can. That's a little technique that I do sometimes. I'll use a marker to kind of color in the back area to kind of hide the little gaps. And so I know some people really get stressed out about seeing gaps or holes in beadwork, but that's a technique that you can use a marker to kind of black out the back of it to make it so you won't see the gaps. Yeah, just a technique. Like I said, beadwork is you should always be stress-free activity. Don't get too crazy with it. And I've always taught, the perfect beadwork is not not necessarily the best. Taking your time, and what am I saying, Richard? What I did it a little different this time. I'm not holding it with my finger anymore. I kind of went straight through. It's a little different technique. I went straight through because I already measured the amount of beads that went. Watch out, there's glass right there.
Yes.
I had my light that fell. And so this time I went through straight through this material. This material, I even talk about the material. This material that I'm using is it's material that you can buy from Walmart or Joann's. It's basically a fabric stiffener. That's what it's called. I don't know the real name of it. Paleon. I think that's what it is. But yeah, I like to buy the one that you can iron on. One side it's got an iron on side. You can do the double iron on both sides, and that just makes it a little stiffer. I like that too, because then I can iron on the back. But anyway, it's like an iron on one, because you can buy the one without. It's like felt almost. but this one's got the iron on one side and not iron on the other side. And so I like to use that because it's a little thicker. The iron on stuff makes it a little stiffer. And I use that, and I also I printed out this, or my wife printed out this medallion emblem that we made, or that they use at San Diego State, and we kind of glued that on. I use a tacky glue or a soft glue. That way, when I'm using the needle to go through it, it's not going to be really hard. Glues like super glue will get really hard, or even like the Gorilla Snot or wood glue will get hard. So use like tacky glue, the soft glue, or Elmer's glue works fine too. Regular school, and it'll stay soft, and it's one of the ways. So we do that, and so the color. If I didn't have a color, if I just drew up the design, I'll actually use a marker or a crayon to kind of color it in. That way, when I'm beading, you won't see the gaps. Like I said, some people are worried about the gaps and seeing through, and that's just one technique that you can use to hide the gaps. But anyway, from here, I actually skip 3 beads there, and went through 2. It just depends. You can skip 2, skip 3, so it looks a little bigger, but that doesn't really hurt it. It still keeps it tacked down, but it helps it with the curve of the curve to curve a little bit. But hopefully you can see that. I'm trying to hold the beadwork a little closer. I know black is probably the worst thing to bead on, to see in this light. But anyway, we're doing it. And so, like I said, beading is fairly simple. And you'll see, then once, another little Indian trick, if you want really straight lines or something to be really straight, this line, or the line that you fed the beads on, you kind of pull it taut. Once you pull it, you'll see, and that'll straighten all the beads, kind of make it real straight. That's a real Indian technique that I like to use when I make my lines straight. So with the needle, the loading needle, the needle that I load the beads with, I'm gonna come back up, and this, you'll just develop your own kind of technique, and it takes a couple of times to pop up. Let's see. Hopefully you can see it. Try to get this. I'm going through, but I had to go through a couple times. And another trick is, if you want to come up right next to the needle, because what you're doing is coming up, you can just actually put a hole there, and then it'll actually stay there for like a minute or 2, and then boom, see, I just came right up, right where I wanted to. So that's another little trick that you can do. Yeah, and then just be careful, because sometimes it happens to me all the time. Somehow this string will actually put itself in a knot. Very mysterious. Sometimes it'll just do it on its own. That's when I burn sage extra. Hey, someone's thinking bad of me, or I'm thinking about something bad. I don't know, but anyway, just kind of lube it up again, or wax it up. I should say wax it up better. So yeah, so beading is oh, my light went out. Hold on, turn my light back on. Thomas, how'd you turn the light on? I must have just got tired. Anyway, my light went out again. Oh, there it goes. Thanks again. So I'm just gonna be doing this same technique over and over. Like I said, some people like to pile up their beads. I like to leave it on the hank and bead straight from it, because then it's when you clean up, it's less mess. You can actually tie this off, tie the last bead in a knot with one bead, and then it creates like a little tie off, so you can leave that bead in the hank. And I don't know if I talked about when you buy the beads, they usually come in a hank. Hank is I think there's 24 loops inside of a hank, and so, or you can buy your beads in kilos. People that buy their beads in kilos, usually, you'll see the little pile of beads. But if you buy them in hanks, they'll come like this. And so that's the way. And like I said, what I do is, hopefully you can see this. I measure how many beads will go across. Once I get to the insides, I'll start counting, and it makes it a little easier because I can count 4. Oh, and you get all tangled up between those. The thing about 2 needles, you don't want to get tangled up with the other needles. Sometimes if I'll actually wrap it around the bead piece to get it out of my way. One of the strings. And I'm drinking. Today's drink is just lemon, water, and salt. Not drinking coffee. It's good to drink like a tea, something that's going to keep you calm. Nice warm hot water is really good. I know when you go overseas, I've been overseas, and a lot of times you go to different places, and a lot of places overseas they like to drink hot water. I think a lot of times they have to boil their water, especially like in Japan. That's a big thing they'll have, instead of cold water, ice water, like how we like here in the United States. We love to have our ice cold mountain fresh water. I don't know, but in other countries, like in Japan, they like to have hot water, and I guess scientists have figured out that that's it. That if you drink hot water versus cold water, you can hold more water in your body, or it absorbs better into your body, the hot water versus so if you ever dehydrated or something, drink some hot water. It'll hydrate you a lot better than ice cold water. Even though ice cold water will feel a lot better. But anyway, just thinking out loud.
And hot water also helps you digest your food.
Yeah, hot water helps you digest your food. But anyway, so once I've gotten good at it where I don't have to. I know how far, or I know how to gauge it, where I know how many beads I can do that. Because now I just go through the whole piece instead of like I was doing earlier when I was holding it with my finger and tying off there. I'll go through the whole thing and pull it, and I'll tie it off, or I'll still wrap it around my finger a little bit just to keep it taut. And it's good. You don't have to when you do your beadwork, you don't have to make the string really super hard and super taut that you're gonna cut off the circulation in your finger. You want to just keep it just real taut and hard. And if you pull it too hard, it just it doesn't work very good. So you just kind of keep it snug. And so again, like all I'm doing is with this other needle, the second needle, I'm just coming up in between the beads. I just came up 2 over. And so this technique is it's basically a whip stitch. For my people that sew, whip stitch is just a circular bead pattern, or sewing pattern, and that's all I'm doing along this string is just basically doing a whip stitch around it, but I just add beads. And so I like to have this all is really good for in case you get like knots in your string, or in case you need to move this over just a tad. That's good. And then just pull. In this, when you pull the string, you don't need to pull it so hard either, because that kind of messes things up. And so, like I said, a good technique. And sometimes I won't pull. I'll pull too hard in some places, and then I won't pull so hard in other places, and then it kind of makes the beadwork bumpy. And I think a lot of people, if I was being critical, I'd worry about bumps. And some people like to do that, worry about the bumps, and I'm not too critical. But the way to fix that, to make it uniform, is to pull this string, the longer string that goes through all of them, and then boom, and then that'll kind of lift up. If you were taut on one side and not so taut on this side, it'll kind of straighten up and level it out. And so it'll make it look like it's straight, and there's no lumps in your beadwork. And there you go. And so once I get a little closer, like when I get to here, I tend to just start using one needle again. And so I'll keep using this. I'll take off the other needle, this is just the way I bead. You can always, come up with your own ways, techniques to bead. And I think as you develop your beading techniques, you'll develop your own style, your own technique, your own unique ways that you do it, which is, I can bead a lot faster if I want to, but usually I'll just take my time, and once I do that, once I come to a certain point when I can kind of gauge how many beads it's going to take to go across, I'll just use one needle and use that one needle to both string the beads and also to tack down. So I'm going to do that right now. Change up techniques on you. Take off one needle. Like magic, it's gone. And like I said, the way I burned this thing, I hold it at an angle, and I burn the Nymo, which is the string, and I'll blow and just tap. But you don't want to tap too much because you'll burn. Because that basically is a plastic. It turns into like a wax that burns and it gets on your finger and you can burn your finger. But anyway, I think I've been talking for about over 45 minutes. It's already 5 o'clock. Well, you guys, I guess next week I'll do a little bit more beadwork. Maybe I'll do another craft. Let me know in the comments what crafts that you want me to do. I know how to do. I like to do a lot of different crafts, from sewing to making moccasins. I need to make some new moccasins to beadwork, different styles. I think next week I'm going to try to put together my moccasins, and maybe do a little talk about that and show you the style I do is kind of like a Cheyenne technique. I was taught by Cheyenne how to make moccasins, so it's called a Cheyenne technique. And I'll be using moose hide. If you want to follow along next week, I'll do that. We'll make moccasins next week. We'll start on moccasins. I got a piece of moose hide. I have some bottom leather that which is what's it called? It's like a belt leather that I use for the bottom. It's called latigo. Some people use latigo. It's a white piece that you can use that they make saddles out of. It's a white material called latigo. You can get it at your local craft store. From Dancing Bear, if you want, you can order that and follow me. I have like a moose hide. You can use elk hide. Smoke hide is the best to use when you're making moccasins. I have a smoke tan moose hide that I'm going to be using. We'll cut out a pattern. You can get patterns there. It's good to have like a foot pattern you can cut out. But I'll show you how to do all that. Cut out, and then maybe in 2 weeks we'll do some beadwork on it. So next week, tune in. We'll do some crafting. Again, staying home safe. We want to do something that's gonna take a little bit of time, take a little bit of lighten your mood, from keeping you from thinking about all the things that are on the news about COVID, and taking the new vaccination and all those things I keep hearing on the news, and a lot of things that I know my mom is always calling me to talk about the things that she sees on the news. She worries about the fires here in California. Every time there's a fire in California, she's calling me, "Are you okay? Are you safe?" I really love my mom calling me and telling me that, but at the same time, it gets a little old. She's calling me every time, but I'm just kidding. Love, you can call me anytime, Mom. But anyway, yeah, so next week tune in. We're gonna start on some moccasins and do a little bit of craft time. Now, like I said, I'm not going to be able to share. I'll try to share as much as I can. It's kind of hard during these times. It's a lot better to share things like this in person, but I'll do my best here on Facebook Live and show you a few techniques that I've learned over these times. And you guys have a good night. What's on the menu tonight? I can't even see. I need to put my glasses on to read the. Oh, we're having spaghetti. Oh, no. Is tonight Panda Express time?
Today's Tuesday.
Oh, curry chicken with rice. I don't know. I'm not that kind of Indian. I don't really like curry.
Wait, also,
Just kidding.
Kiana Capello asks if the next class will be at the same day and time.
Yeah, the next class is every Tuesday. Here, Facebook Live on the Indian Health San Diego Circles of Care,
San Diego
Facebook.
Meridian Health Center Circles of Care.
San Diego Indian Health Circles of Care. I can't even say it, the acronym. But anyway, if you're here, you know what the acronyms. I'm gonna every week I do a little talk from on Tuesday from 4 to I'm only to talk for 45 minutes, but we can go longer if you want. But anyway, so next week tune into that. We'll kind of break it up in maybe 3 parts, just getting your materials and cutting things out, and I'll show you how to do that. Like I said, for that next thing, we're going to do moccasins. So you'll need some material.
Did you explain where that pattern comes from?
Yeah, I explained the
And
pattern.
it's not to be used by anybody else.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And this, is trademarked by San Diego State. Just kidding. Yeah. So this pattern, like I said, is San Diego State pattern. Just so you know,
For their EY program.
for the American EY program,
In my workshop.
which is the mentorship program that they have at San Diego State for Native students that are incoming. Like I said, I took some classes there at San Diego State. I studied American Indian Studies and also studied tribal gaming at San Diego State. So that's where I got my education. Also went to Palomar College. Starting to get off on on the tangent there, but anyway, yeah. So this pattern is trademark by the EY program. So if you want to
It's
help,
gifted to the Navy.
it's gifted to the Navy. I gave it to
Graduates.
them. Gifted to the graduates. Anyway, anyhow, so yeah, and this is just a pattern that we do for the Native graduates. And thank you guys for joining me. Join me next week. We'll do the moccasins, Cheyenne style moccasins if you can. Get a pattern, measure your foot. A few things to do is probably to measure your foot on a piece of paper, and then we'll outline it. Maybe have some material ready. You can use buckskin if it's your first moccasin. You can get some fabric material, and we can do it that way. I can show you that way, that style. Or you can go all in and get.
We should probably do fabric first so that people learn before they use hide.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll do fabric, and we'll do hide. We'll do both. I'll have both patterns set up to show
Maybe
you
1
guys.
week fabric and then the next week's hide. That way for people that don't know.
Okay,
They
well,
don't mess
we'll-
up their hide.
Yeah, we'll start off with just using fabric next week. So break out your sewing machines. Hey. All right, guys. Well, have a good night. Stay safe. From my home. This is my home. It's been very personal. A personal place for me, from my bead workstation to yours. Have a good day. Smudge, don't judge. And you guys have a good night. Have a good dinner. I don't know how to stop this. Okay, here it is. Stop sharing.